There's a $20 billion company that owns the clothing brands you trust. And it makes nothing. No factories, no designers, just the names, licensed out to whoever hits a price target. Champion was bought by that company last year. Watch the reverse weave hoodie's fabric tag change while the logo stays exactly the same. 7 popular clothing brands everyone buys that are absolute garbage. You've felt it without a word for it. The reverse weave hoodie that used to survive a decade. Now the new one pills in a month. The Brooks Brothers suit your father wore. Real wool next to a new one that feels like a raincoat. A guarantee you remember standing behind a jacket, quietly gone. That wasn't you getting pickier. Somebody sold the name and kept the factory closed. Let me show you who and how to see it coming. Number 1. Champion. Here's the ownership fact, and it explains everything you've felt. In 2024, Champion was bought by Authentic Brands Group, ABG, for around $1.2 billion, with the deal closing that September. Its U.S. sales were already down roughly 23% when Hanesbrands offloaded it. And ABG is not a clothing company. Understand that clearly, because it's the key to this whole video. ABG owns the intellectual property, the name, the logo, the trademarks, and licenses it out to third-party manufacturers who make the product. It owns 50-plus brands generating around $32 billion in retail sales, and it manufactures none of it. Nautica, Aeropostale, Reebok, Forever 21, Nine West, names you grew up with, all under one roof, and that roof covers no factory floor. It's a portfolio of memories, monetized. It's been called the $20 billion empire that makes nothing. Sit with that phrase because it's the whole video. A company can be worth $20 billion, own the names on half the clothes in your closet, and not run a single sewing machine. Its product isn't clothing. Its product is your trust in a logo, rented out by the year. So what happens to Champion? ABG announced it's converting the brand to its licensed model. That means the reverse weave hoodie. The one built like a tank, the one that genuinely lasted 10 years, becomes a name that gets attached to whatever a licensee can produce to a price. Here's your homework, and it's the method for this entire list. Buy a Champion piece today, then buy one in 2 years and read the fabric content tag on each. Watch the cotton percentage drift. Watch the weight drop. The logo will be identical. The garment underneath won't be. And this is the cleverest part of the whole scheme. It happens slowly, not overnight. A little less cotton this year, a little lighter next year, so no single hoodie ever feels like the betrayal. You just look up in 5 years and the thing you trusted is gone, and you can't point to the day it left. You bought the name, they kept the factory closed. The next one is a 200-year-old American name, now printed on fabric it would once have refused. One quick thing, and it's the one you've been asking for. You wanted the whole method in one place. Well, here it is. My new guide, build a $2,000 wardrobe for $200. Every rule from this channel. No logos, no fluff. The link is below. Go build it. Number 2, Brooks Brothers. Let me give this one its due first because the legacy is enormous. Founded in 1818, Brooks Brothers is the oldest clothing retailer in America. It dressed presidents. It introduced the ready-to-wear suit to this country and popularized the button-down collar. Abraham Lincoln was wearing a Brooks Brothers coat the night he died. Presidents from Lincoln to Kennedy wore the label. That is the weight this name used to carry. For over 2 centuries, that name on a label meant genuine American tailoring, full canvased construction, real wool, a suit built to be worn for years and altered as you changed. That was the promise the name carried. Now, the reality. Brooks Brothers filed for bankruptcy in July 2020. It was bought out of that bankruptcy by Spark Group, a joint venture in which Authentic Brands Group owns the brand's intellectual property. Same firm, same asset-light model. And here's the measurable betrayal. The name that was built on wool now appears on suiting and diffusion pieces made to hit price targets. Polyester and viscose blends a world away from the cloth that made the reputation. Flip the jacket, read the content tag, and you'll find it. This is what reputation laundering looks like in its purest form. The name still whispers 200 years of tailoring. The fabric says something a lot cheaper, and the gap between what the label promises and what the garment delivers, That gap is the entire profit. Nobody who buys it is a fool. They're trusting a reputation that was quietly sold out from under them. That is the difference between this channel and the people who'll call you foolish for buying a Brooks Brothers suit. You weren't foolish. You read a 200-year-old name and assumed it still meant what it meant your whole life. The name was the lie, not your judgment. The man who reads the fabric content, not the heritage on the label, catches it every time. 207 years of reputation. And the single most reliable thing you can do is ignore all of it and read 4 lines of fiber percentages on a tag. That's how completely the name and the garment have come apart. The next one killed something even more sacred than the fabric. The promise? Number 3, Eddie Bauer. Here's the verdict, and it's a genuine loss. So let me credit what this brand was first. Eddie Bauer, the man, was an outdoor pioneer. He's credited with the first patented quilted down jacket, the technology that keeps mountaineers and everyday people alive in the cold. This was a real outdoor company with real expedition pedigree that stood behind its gear. That heritage is authentic. And here's what happened to it. Eddie Bauer has filed for bankruptcy 3 times in just over 2 decades, in 2003, in 2009, and again in early 2026. Read that number. 3. In 2021, Authentic Brands Group and Spark Group acquired the brand, folding it into the same asset-light licensing model. Spark has since merged into a group called Catalyst Brands, and it was under that structure that Eddie Bauer filed its 3rd bankruptcy and began closing more than 170 stores. So the outdoor pioneer is now a name passed between holding companies while the stores go dark. And this is where I'll be precise, because I won't fabricate a spec I can't prove. I can't point you to a single dated memo killing the old guarantee. What I can tell you is the mechanism. When a brand passes through repeated bankruptcies and lands in an IP licensing firm, the promises that were tied to the original company, the guarantees, the repair culture, the accountability, don't survive the way the logo does. A guarantee is only as good as the company standing behind it, and the company that made that promise is gone. A lifetime guarantee assumes a lifetime of the same company existing to honor it. When the brand has changed hands 4 or 5 times and now lives inside a licensing portfolio, whose lifetime exactly are we talking about? What carries the name now includes white label catalog goods, footwear, and products that have little to do with the mountaineering pedigree that built it. The name signals expedition grade. The product is whatever a licensee ships. Picture the man buying an Eddie Bauer jacket for a real cold weather trip, trusting the name that outfitted the first American up Everest and getting a garment built to a catalog price target instead. The name is writing a check the current owner has no intention of cashing. You bought the name. They kept the factory closed. The next one is a different crime entirely, and I'm going to be straight with you about that. Number 4, Under Armour. Now I have to be honest with you, because this one is not the same mechanism, and a fact checker would catch me if I pretended it was. Under Armour is not owned by ABG. It is not a licensing shell. It's still an independent company. So why is it here? Because it's the other road to the same destination, self-inflicted decline. Under Armour built a genuinely premium reputation in performance wear. Then it eroded it from the inside. Its revenue has been falling for years, down around 3% in fiscal 2024 to about $5.7 billion, and projected down further after that, with the worst damage in North America, its home market. And here's the dilution that did it. For years, the brand flooded off-price and discount channels. When your product is stacked on the clearance table at the outlet mall week after week, the premium signal dies. Nobody pays $70 for a shirt they saw for $19 at the outlet last month. The brand taught its own customers to wait for the markdown, and once you've taught that lesson, you can't unteach it. Customers stop believing it's worth full price because it never is. The brand is now fighting to claw that back, deliberately cutting the off-price distribution to try to rebuild the premium it gave away. That's a turnaround battle, not a licensing scam. I want to be fair to them. There are good people inside Under Armour trying to fix this, and cutting your own discount distribution is the hard, correct move. But fair or not, it doesn't change what's in your hands at the store. But the lesson for your wallet is the same as the laundered brands. A logo that once meant performance-grade quality no longer reliably tells you what you're getting. Different road, same garbage at the end of it. Whether a firm launders the name or the company dilutes it itself, you get the identical result, a trusted logo that outran the product beneath it. The man who reads the actual garment, not the reputation, is protected either way. The next one never had a reputation to lose, and that's the point. Number 5, Shein. Here's the spec shock. And again, I'm labeling this honestly. Shein is not a laundered heritage brand. It never had a legacy to sell. It's the opposite end of the spectrum, the pure, undisguised endpoint that every price target race is running toward. Shein's garments are overwhelmingly synthetic. Independent analyses consistently find the majority, often 60 to 80% or more, of its clothing is polyester and other petrochemical-based fibers. That's not an accident. It's the cheapest possible input, and the entire model is built on cheapest possible. These clothes are engineered to survive a handful of washes, not years. Washes, the seams give, the fabric pills and thins, the shape collapses, and it's designed too because the business assumes you'll throw it out and buy more. Every garment is a repeat customer by design. Durability would be a bug in that model, not a feature. Now, why put a brand with no heritage on a list about heritage betrayal? Because Shein shows you the destination. When ABG licenses a name to whoever hits the lowest price. When a premium brand chases the discount rack. The logical end of that race is exactly this. Disposable clothing with a logo on it and nothing underneath. Champion converted to a licensed model is walking towards Shein. Brooks Brothers on polyester viscose is walking towards Shein. Shein just got there first and stopped pretending the name ever meant anything. There's an ugly honesty to it in a way. Shein never asks you to believe in heritage. It just sells you 3 washes of polyester and doesn't insult you with a story about Taylor. The laundered brands want the disposable margins and the heritage prices at the same time. That's the whole spectrum, from laundered legacy to open disposability, and the same synthetic, short-lived garment waiting at the bottom of all of it. The next one is a clean licensing case again, and it's a name that defined how America dressed for work. Number 6. Dockers. Here's the ownership news that most people missed. In May 2025, Levi Strauss agreed to sell Dockers to Authentic Brands Group, an initial $311 million, potentially reaching $391 million with earnouts, closing into 2026. So the khaki that built business casual America is now another name in the ABG portfolio. Levi's kept its own jeans, the business it actually cares about, and sold off the side brand for cash. That's telling in itself. When the parent company decides a heritage name is worth more sold than kept. You're watching the beginning of the licensing life cycle in real time. Think about what Dockers was in the 90s. It defined the entire category of American casual workwear, the pant that took men from the suit to the khaki, the uniform of a whole era of offices. That cultural weight is exactly what makes the name valuable to a licensing firm, and exactly what has nothing to do with the garment they'll license. Here's the pattern you now recognize because you've seen it 5 times already in this video. ABG owns the trademark. Third parties make the product, and to hit a license-friendly price, the construction and fabric targets drop. Lighter cloth, cheaper finishing, whatever protects the royalty margin. The Dockers name will keep signaling that dependable 90s workhorse. The pants coming off the licensed line will be built to a number, not to a standard, not to a customer, to a number on a spreadsheet that protects the royalty. That is the quiet difference between a company that makes clothes and a company that licenses a name. One is building a garment, the other is defending a margin. This is the same machine that processed Champion, Brooks Brothers, and Eddie Bauer, now running on one more American icon. That's the tell of a system, not an accident. When the same firm owns Champion and Brooks Brothers and Eddie Bauer and Dockers, and every one of them drifts the same direction after the sale, you're not looking at bad luck. You're looking at a business model working exactly as designed. Read the tag, check the owner, and watch the specs settle toward the price target. You bought the name. They kept the factory closed. One left, and it's the newest trick of all, taking brands that were born premium and running them into the clearance rack. Number 7. Bonobos. Here's the question that closes the whole case. What happens to a premium direct-to-consumer brand after it's sold? Bonobos is the example, and note carefully, this one is not ABG. It's a different firm running the same playbook, WHP Global, a brand management company that owns names like Toys R Us and Anne Klein and monetizes them through licensing, exactly like ABG. Bonobos built its reputation online as a premium men's brand, known for a specific fit, sold at premium prices. Walmart bought it for over $300 million, then unloaded it in 2023. WHP Global took the brand's intellectual property for around $50 million, while Express took the operations. And WHP licensed the name back out. Read that arc. A brand valued in the hundreds of millions. Reduced to a name on a website, it's IP owned by a firm that makes nothing and licenses it wherever it can earn. That's the newest and quietest version of the trick. Champion took decades to decline. A modern direct-to-consumer brand can go from premium darling to a name on a clearance rack in under a decade. And you see the same fate hitting other once premium names, labels like Joe's Jeans, brands that started as elevated denim, now turning up at warehouse club and clearance pricing, the premium positioning stripped for parts. This is the newest lane of the same highway, the premium to clearance pipeline. A brand doesn't even need a 200-year legacy anymore. It just needs enough reputation to be worth licensing after the substance is gone. That's the grim innovation here. The heritage brands took a century to hollow out. The premium DTC ones can be hollowed in 5 years because there was never anything but reputation to begin with. Whether it's ABG or WHP, the model is identical. The reputation does the selling, the licensee does the cutting corners, and the gap between the two is the whole business. The man who reads who actually owns the label sees the whole trick. So here's the method, and it's the only defense that works. A name is worth exactly what the company behind it still puts underneath it, and often that company makes nothing at all. So flip the garment, read the fabric content tag, and look up who actually owns the label, because the logo is frequently the last real thing left about the brand. The spec is the only thing telling you the truth about what you're holding today. None of this was ever your fault for believing. You trusted a name that was quietly sold. And the guide so many of you asked for is finally here. Build a $2,000 wardrobe for $200. Every rule from this channel in one place, linked below. If this one opened your eyes, watch the men's clothing brands robbing you blind. 370,000 views. And the clothing built to last a lifetime, 199,000 views. The same read the garment method for your whole wardrobe. Subscribe. This channel reads the build, not the marketing.